All right. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to rise.
Do you like comedy, karaoke, and music history? Check out Karaoke Big E with your hosts Kevmo and Big E every Tuesday on your favorite podcast app of choice. And remember, you can't be a star if you don't shine.
All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of dawn.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
Hi there, this is John from Pino Comics.
This is the other John from Pino Comics.
And we just wanted to warn you before you tune into our quite excellent show that we may or may not use, what type of term would you use for the language, John?
Swearing with flair.
Swearing with flair.
Colorful language.
Colorful language.
Or just plain out, I don't know.
Gutter talk.
Gutter talk, there we go.
You've been warned. Listen in. 2019, we finally arrived. The first recorded episode of Pino Comics in this year. The only thing I have to say about this year so far is that Blade Runner was full of shit. There aren't robots running all around. Yeah, Blade Runner took place in 2019, and LA does not look like that. So it lied to us. Sir Jon.
I'm thinking.
Sir Jon across the table from me, Johnny Ganache, and Lou Skywalker on the other side. Very special guest tonight. Blind Hostility, Mike Fullam. If you remember, that's you.
Oh.
From the J&amp Something Nothing show. If you have not checked it out yet, Mike, right off the bat, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and what your show is all about.
J&amp Something Nothing show. It's pretty much we turn nothing into something. So we talk about movies, music, video games, whatever else comes along the way. We actually have interviewed a game developer. I'm not sure if you heard that episode.
Yeah,
King of the Hat.
The King of the Hat, correct.
King of the Hat, yep. So that was a lot of fun. And then
you guys are blowing up. I mean, I don't want to jump in on here, but I'm going to give you some spots you might not be saying for yourself. You've got a theme song now that you had written for you, right?
Yep, by Die. Destruction is Evolutionary, which is out of, oh man, he's going to kill me. Idaho? No, Idaho.
Arizona?
Utah.
Yeah, Utah. One of those flat, salty desert states.
Utah. Yep.
Big square state.
Big square state.
Salty square state.
Salty square
Come
state.
on, you know when you think of Utah, you think of salt. And recently, here's another big thing. Oh, he's already hitting the mic thing. You guys also have recently attained sponsorship by a local Middletown, Connecticut business, right?
Yeah, Claycola Coffee.
That is awesome, man.
Just for now, yeah. So
and we're a fan. So how does that work out? Do you guys just do you throw ads on your show, or are they just slipping you a little?
Man, you want to go into business talk?
Well, I don't want to go into business talk.
Come on, no. Basically just throw ads on the show.
Yeah, we got to get sponsors. Let's get some sponsors.
Well, yeah, it's really easy to do, and we use Anchor too, and Anchor is really easy. And right now, there's actually a switch on there. You could just switch a toggle on there and toggle a switch on there.
There you go.
And it automatically gives you a sponsor. So depending on how long your show is, you're supposed to do 30 seconds in the beginning, and then one halfway through, and then one near the end. So, and you make money off of that. So
yeah. Okay, cool. I just noticed something real quick. I'm going to edit this out. Put that beer over that way, because I just don't want this to ever get zapped.
You want mine to get zapped?
Yeah.
Just because it's old, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to edit this out now. Mike had his can of beer next to our little mix master station here. and I asked him to put it closer to his 17,000-year-old laptop.
Hey, but it's running Windows 10.
I didn't know that Commodore made laptops.
Is it in color?
Yeah, it's in color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an old CRT
Holy
screen.
shit, Lou, let's before the end of the night get a picture,
Get a picture of that?
Let's
Yeah.
get a picture of it. And unfortunately, the only thing we can't have done is we can't have our listeners like actually lift it to see how fucking heavy that thing
I like
is.
how he has Apple stickers on the back of it. He's trying to make people believe.
Yeah.
This is an early Mac version.
Oh yeah, the Toshiba Mac.
Yeah, no, it's Toa Mac, all right?
Old MacDonald. So you got the show going on. Have you any recent episodes? I know you had one early December at this point.
No, early December. So right now we're basically recording maybe once a month, if that.
Okay, and
So-
and we want to mention too your co-host.
Yeah, John Limbaugh. He's
Yeah.
down in South Carolina, so he's not here in Connecticut with us, unfortunately.
And you guys do everything via Google Hangouts, right?
No, we do it actually Zoom conference.
Oh, Zoom conference. All right.
So it actually works out pretty good. So one-on-one, since we do it, it's free. It's unlimited for recording. If we bring someone else in, it would be only 40 minutes, but at that point, we would just use Skype.
Right.
So it makes it easier because Zoom actually, you can have it set so it breaks apart all 4 audio tracks. Like if you were using it tonight, it'll break them all apart so you can do one at a time.
Okay.
So it makes it a lot easier to edit, especially if he's lower in some spots or there's some ticking noise in the background and
Right.
stuff. So, but with the King of the Hat, we had to use Skype. Cause
Oh, it sounded great. I listened to that. It
there's
sounded
3
great.
people, so.
Yeah.
And Zoom, just so you know, they're always looking for more sponsors. There
Zoom.
you go. See, Zoom.
Zoom hit us
Zoom.
up. So
That was a TV show when I grew up.
yeah, I think it had the exclamation point at the end of it, right? It was like a kid show.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Kid dish.
Kiddish. I was a big fan of the Great Space Coaster myself.
Yeah,
Remember
I
that
think it
one?
was the audience was a little older. For
A little bit older?
Yeah. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom. All I want to do. So Mike,
And boom, boom, just shake the rump.
shake your rump.
That would be much older.
So if the audience of Pint of Comics remembers, you were here probably like last summer with us. We talked about the fact that not only we talked about the J&amp Something Nothing show, but we talked about the fact that you are a Nintendo freakazoid.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I need another room.
You need another room.
Yeah, the toy collection is getting bad.
You took a bunch of pictures and we posted them on our website.
It's
and
worse than that now.
Well, I'd assume it was 8 months ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, they released some new amiibo, so now there's like 10 new amiibo sitting downstairs. I got.
Did you get your
See
Luke
my hat?
Goblin?
Yes, I did get that.
Nice.
I didn't know I had it pre-ordered. It just came in the mail. I forgot.
Oh, well, good, because they're hard to come by.
So,
I managed to snag one myself.
and I'm still trying to get a Solaire amiibo
Okay.
from Dark Souls. I haven't got that one either.
I'm trying to think. Did
But-
that actually come into my house at some point? I don't know. I'd have to ask Zach.
We'll let Lou think on that.
Yeah, thinking that,
Interesting podcast talk.
And then I get in
Hi,
trouble
it's
all the
Amiibo
time.
Radio.
Yeah, amiibo radio.
you get in trouble all the
So
time. Who do you get in trouble with?
My girlfriend for buying stuff, especially like see my hat limited run games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sell like collector's editions once a month, and they're like $80. Yeah.
And you're in it every month, aren't you?
No.
No?
I got 4, and then I had to stop. I couldn't afford that anymore. So
That's a ton of money, man. Well, what's funny about tonight's show is I kind of had the idea when you were on the last time to have you come back to talk specifically Nintendo. And we all know that I love my list shows. And Lou is also a crazy video game guy with a passion for Nintendo. Not necessarily Nintendo as focused as Nintendo as Mike is, but you still love Nintendo. John and I are Luddites when it comes to Nintendo.
What?
I'll freely admit I own 2 systems ever. I owned the original, and I owned the N64 at one point.
Ooh.
I enjoyed them both, but I was never that into them. And John, I think, said you never owned either, and you played.
No, I still own it, and if anyone wants it, it's for sale. Is the Super Nintendo? With
Oh, you had a Super. See, I didn't have a Super Nintendo.
I've got 2 controllers. One
Break
of which.
my heart.
what do you
when
got
say
for
these
games? Hold on, what do you got for games?
Oh, see, no, we're not going there right now.
No, hold on. Shut your mics and headphones. Lou, you're not buying it. No.
Next to nothing,
I've still
really.
got one.
We're going to start a bidding
have
war
one.
here.
You don't?
I don't
I've still
have
got
one.
mine.
No, that's good. That's fine.
We're going to start a bidding war here in the middle of everything. We'll get you guys after the show.
Wait, hold on. Lou, do you have the Nintendo top loader too with the dog bone controllers?
Yes.
Damn you.
Yes, I do. I'm trying to think if it's actually in the house or in storage.
Nice. Okay.
Dog bones, huh? That's what they call those.
This is what it must be like listening to our show.
Apparently.
So, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is the idea of the show.
I think it's in storage.
John and I are going to sit back for once in Pint of Comics history and maybe just throw in some color commentary. We're going to let you guys run this whole show. The idea that we came up with was Nintendo has come out with 7 different gaming consoles since the inception of the original system.
Wait, could be 8 technically if you include Virtual Boy.
We're not including virtual.
Yeah, don't. That's an interesting factoid, and we'll go into that. But we're gonna do the 7 that we agreed upon.
Oh, that's funny.
And if you want me, I'm gonna recite them off the top of my head. Let's see how I do. There was the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yep.
Then there was the Super NES, right?
Okay, well, I'm just going to footnote this for anyone who's listening. We're just doing the North American names.
True.
Okay?
Okay.
Because, like,
All
we
right.
could get into the Famicom and the
Famicom.
Super Famicom.
Okay.
So
No.
We're just, North America.
All right, NES, Super NES. Nintendo 64 was next, correct?
Yep.
With that weird 3-prong controller that I...
Still one of the best controllers ever made.
GameCube was 4th, correct?
Correct.
Wii was after GameCube.
Yep.
Wii U was after Wii, and now we're living in the age of Switch. Which I've got to say, I just saw my first Switch ever live at my friend James's Christmas party. He has one with his kids, and man, that thing is a complex little fucking machine. Like the fact that it's a
hybrid.
The fact that it's a handheld
That you can dock.
that you could dock, but the actual handheld screen is the actual console.
Yeah, because you can play on the pooper now. It's awesome.
All right. So what we're gonna do, and Lou has some information on. We'll go top game for each guy, okay, for each system. And when we go to each system, I'll call off the system, and then we'll go from there. You guys each take a turn. Lou, you're gonna give us the year the system came out in North America.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone out there is going to listen and go, it came out 6 months earlier in Japan. I don't give a fuck when it came out in Japan. I just want to know when it came out in America.
That hurts.
Well,
Without Japan, we'd be nothing.
No,
over there.
I thank them. I thank them. What is the guy's name, by the way, who I think he passed away recently, the guy who started Nintendo?
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't who was the guy that passed away recently?
Awada.
And what was he? He was just
He was the CEO? He was the big guy.
Okay.
Shigeru Miyamoto is the
Shigeru
most famous.
Miyamoto. He's the one I'm thinking of. Is he still alive? Or?
Yes.
Okay, he's like the creator. He's the guy
He's the heart and soul.
Okay.
The guy who he's basically behind every major first party franchise in the company.
And I'll ask this to you guys, and I don't want to put you on the spot because I don't want it to be, a sign of embarrassment that especially the Nintendo guy over here might not know. What does Nintendo mean? Does anybody know?
Great games.
It was actually something else originally. I'm trying to remember.
They used to make Hanafu cards before.
They made what?
Hanafu cards?
What the fuck's a Hanafu card?
Lou, do you want to describe it?
Hang on.
They're like playing cards, I guess. That's the only way I could describe it.
Oh, cards. I thought you said cart.
No, cards.
Oh, okay.
Hanafu cards.
Okay, so they were still in the game business.
Yeah, and the company was started, what, 1893?
I think I've heard that before. I have heard that.
Exact date, so I remember. 1889.
Wow. See, look at that. We're learning shit here on Piney Comics. When John says wow, I get excited because John knows just about fucking everything.
Yeah, they were found. Yeah, a playing card company.
And does it say in there what the etymology of Nintendo is? Was it a guy named?
They really consider themselves a toy company.
Back in the day.
Absolutely right.
They still
Even
do
still.
today. I mean, with
come on.
Labo and stuff. Yeah, the Amiibo, Labo, everything.
It's just a toy.
It's just a toy. It really is just a toy. It's geared more for kids.
I get
seriously.
that. Okay, I get that.
It's culture.
It's culture, man.
It's the 8-bit.
It's a little bit different here on Piney Comics, by the way. Tonight, Mike is the only one drinking a beer. Me, Lou, and John are having some hot tea. I think
I'll move on to a beer.
we'll
later.
move on to a beer. We'll move on to a beer. A little hot tea. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do.
Well, it was either that or smoke weed so I can get rid of my anxiety. Sorry. And I don't even smoke. I'm just letting you know.
What do you have, podcast anxiety?
Well, yeah, Lou was like, we're professionals here. And I'm like, shit.
Jesus. Have you been here twice now? You think we're professionals?
Oh, my God.
I don't know how you want to edit this in.
Yeah.
If you even edit it in. But common assumption is that Nintendo means leave luck to heaven, or even to leave one's fortune in the hands of fate.
You know how I'm going to edit that in? I'm just going to leave what you just said right there.
There you go.
That works.
Can you repeat that? What the hell did you just say?
Okay, the commonest. I'm getting this off the internet because once I don't remember everything.
Google or Bing?
Google.
Jesus Christ.
Internet Explorer?
Ask Jeeves.
Web crawler. The common assumption is that Nintendo means leave luck to heaven, or even to leave one's fortune in the hands of fate.
All right, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know they started in 1889. I didn't know they made cards. All right, so guys, here we're going to do this. We're going to start. We're going to start off with Nintendo Entertainment System, the originator. Lou, what year did that come out in households in North America?
1985.
And I remember when I got mine. I was very excited. But I was a Sega guy. My father, I might have told this on the last podcast you were on. My father came home from work about 6 months after the Nintendo had come out, and he had something for me. He gave it to me, and he had a Nintendo. And at the time, they were hard to find, and I was very grateful. And he said a guy he worked with had a kid who he'd gotten the Nintendo for when it came out. And the kid was like a shit kid. And he told him multiple times, if you keep fucking around, I'm taking your Nintendo and giving it to somebody. I got the Nintendo. Now, again, me and John are not adding into games we played. The game that I was probably heaviest into myself was Legend of Zelda. I think 2, until I came home after playing that thing for about 6 months and my game got erased. Remember the cartridge had a battery in it?
Backup.
Gone. Came home from school.
Not all of them did.
Came home from, I think it was like Kegwin probably, 7th grade, you here along with Mike, and went to go play. And you remember how it had the hearts? Was it hearts that showed where you were at? And I was back down to 0. And I remember my 12-year-old fucking self being fucking pissed off. Yeah.
Well, at least you got your NES to work without it blinking and blowing in the cartridge all the time.
Oh no, I had to do that too.
Oh.
I think we all know.
Which was literally the worst thing ever to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you don't recall this, I'm sure you do. If the joke with the NES was it had a top loader. It was almost like an old school VCR. You put the cassette in, the cartridge, you pushed it down, it clicked into place, you shut the lid, and then when you would hit the button, it would sometimes just blink. And that meant that it wasn't reading, I guess. So this is just a long-standing thing. As a matter of fact, I think it's on the top of my laptop. A Tom Ryan sticker that says "Blow Me" with a cartridge on it.
Yep, it does.
It just everybody knew to take it out and then blow your disgusting fucking filthy spit into this delicate $60 cartridge. Put it back in and it would start. And I'm pretty sure we were all wrong on that.
Yeah, absolutely the worst thing to do.
Yeah, worst thing to do. So Lou, what was your favorite of the Nintendo Entertainment System games?
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, Dragon Warrior.
Dragon. See, I've never heard of that.
God, was there more than one on that?
Well, there's been 11 of them over the course of the series history.
What was was that Dragon Warrior? Was that the one in the yellow box?
Here, this is the one with the dragon. I'll show you the picture. I'm showing him a picture of the cover.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I used to love playing that game.
All right,
Warrior
so give
was
us a quick synopsis of Dragon
absolute
Warrior.
favorite.
I'm assuming it has something to do with a guy who's a Dragon Warrior.
Well, it was really horrible graphics. It was 8-bit. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, really?
No, it was good.
John summed it up actually pretty darn well. You were a Dragon Warrior.
That's
your
it.
job. Yeah, I mean, like, basically what you were was a Dragon Warrior, for lack of a better term. You resided in the Kingdom of Alfgard, and your job was to rescue a princess. So I mean, it was as vanilla as it possibly gets.
Right.
I mean, you were dropped in, and I mean, as they expanded the series across 11 games and going into PlayStation and all that, they filled out the backstory of who the Dragon Warrior was. But I mean, at the time, you were basically just a knight. You were traveling around, you were killing things, and you were saving a princess. The only reason why it sticks with me so much is because it was, and I know Johnson will understand. It was actually what got me into tabletop gaming. Like I took my love of Dragon Warrior is actually what led me into Dungeons.
Well, it's
and
got
Dragons.
that medieval feel to it. Yeah.
I mean, because I was having so much fun playing it by myself that I was like, well, I want to do this with friends, or I want to fight, and that's where Dungeons and Dragons came from. In hindsight now, you realize that this was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons because that was what was out first, and basically every role-playing game is. But yeah, at the time, it blew my mind just because what it was a giant open world.
Yep.
You just wandered around, randomly interacted and fought monsters, and you really weren't. In most games back then, you weren't handheld. I mean, you had to figure it all out for yourself as you went along. That's why I loved it. Plus, I have a fun story about it. At the time, they were giving it away with a subscription to Nintendo Power Magazine.
Rip.
And
I missed that. I really do.
I know.
They do have the Nintendo Power podcast now, though.
Yeah. No, I haven't actually listened to it, but yeah, no.
They don't print Nintendo Power anymore?
No, they stopped that years ago. Along with the Nintendo tip line. Remember the Nintendo tip line? Yep. Yeah, where you would call and spend like $8 a minute, and they would tell you how to beat something.
When they brought out the NES Mini, they actually had that number on there so you could call.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
1-900 call Nintendo.
So you
$2 an hour.
Did you get the subscription and that's how
well,
you got
yeah.
the game?
Well, what had happened was I had gotten the subscribe. Actually, I begged my parents for the subscription because my parents thought everything to do with video games was useless and pointless, even though they bought me the Nintendo. So, and you got the game free with your subscription. So, and of course, it's like takes 8 to 12 weeks to show up. I kept waiting and waiting, and of course, when you're a kid, 8 to 12 weeks just seems like
forever.
An absolute eternity.
Forever.
And I remember one night my uncle had shown up, and it was a rainy night, and he knocked on the door, and I opened the door, and as I opened the door, there was an envelope, like one of those padded envelopes sitting in the door. I'm like, what is this? And I look at it, and it says it's got the Nintendo Power logo on it and the whole 9 yards, and I lost my mind.
I thought you were going to say it was your dad's copy. Of
Yeah, he put it in storage, not giving it to you.
it was your dad's copy of Clam.
I can't think back. I mean, I have like the most idiot grin on my face right now, because even thinking back on it now, how freaked out I was. I put that game. I honestly put probably more hours into that game until Destiny came out than I put into any other game. I played that game incessantly. When you look back on it now and you realize what it was at the time, it was a very simple game. And it was designed that way, because when they designed it to be almost like an introductory to RPGs for like a North American audience, because it was something that really we didn't have here. I mean, at the time there was Wizardry, there was Ultima, which, were PC games and, PC RPGs, and that they were the early inspiration for Dragon Warrior, but the entire thought behind it was to make it easier for like a console and a North American audience to get a grip on. So you had like fight, spell, run, and at the same time, it was the foundation upon which all basic, even Final Fantasy is based off of it. The systems. Even if you look at Elder Scrolls, the Dragon Warrior was one of the first games to have the concept of increasing difficulty the further you went out from, from the starting castle. So if you were underleveled and you got to a certain
I just want to point out that if anybody's interested, Pint of Comics is going to branch off. And Lou's going to have his own show called Talking About Dragon Warrior. Because I have the feeling you could talk about Dragon Warrior for a while.
I can. Once I get rolling.
Wait a minute. I think you should let him just do Destiny all the time. There you go.
No.
All
right. Well, in the idea of time's sake, I'm gonna move on to Mike. But I'm not disinterested in that. I see the passion in your eyes. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I still think, though, that your dad's copy of like Hot Clam was in that thing. And
is that why you're smiling so hard?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Dragon Warrior, baby.
All right. Wow. Mike, your favorite original system Nintendo game?
It's going to have to be Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, you just going classic.
I am, because I love platformers. That's all it is.
Now, what does platformer mean to a guy like me?
Jumping.
Oh, so literally,
jumping.
You're literally speaking jumping. Of, okay. So like a
jumping.
2D side-scroller, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Brothers, that would be considered a platform game.
I don't think Sonic's really considered a platformer.
Yeah, it's an action platformer. I mean, same type of thing, just a different way of going about it. I mean, for the lay person listening, if you played, Super Mario Brothers,
yeah,
you know what a platformer is.
Okay.
I mean, everything just has
so
iterated.
Super Mario Brothers 1 is your favorite?
Yeah, because it was the sequel to Mario Bros. Pretty much. If you remember.
Wait. There was a Mario Brothers game?
Mario Brothers, the original arcade one in 1983.
I honestly, I don't want to sound stupid, but I thought that he jumped from Donkey Kong to Super Mario Brothers.
Do you remember the game where it was basically him and it was just a static screen and they had the enemies going back and forth and you can loop around the screen, but
and just hit them.
You didn't, and just hit them.
No.
You didn't actually.
You remember this?
The original Mario Brothers.
I don't remember much. I still have my Mario cement factory. So
yeah.
I still got to unload that thing.
Wait, you could have sold that at BingCon, dickhead. I told you that guy was hot for it.
I think we need to talk more, John.
He wasn't going to buy it for what I was asking.
He might buy it now, though.
Nah.
All right, so Super Mario Brothers, that's your all-time favorite of the regular Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Okay.
All time, and I still will play it till this day.
And we talked about this a little bit on the last show, but is Mario your favorite of the characters of the Nintendo pantheon?
Yes and no.
Oh.
I tend to side more with Luigi. I'd rather play as him.
That's right, because I remember from the last episode, we titled it Luigi's a little bit floaty.
In the newer games, he's not really floaty in like the original Super Mario Brothers or nothing. So
to me, that looks like Super Mario Brothers.
No, that's actually Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were static, flat spaces. Like you didn't progress in the level like that. You moved.
See, that's why we brought you guys on, because I wanted to do a Nintendo show and I'd never be able to talk about this shit. So, okay, we talked about the NES.
You gotta get on your game though.
Right, well, I'm learning. This is what I'm doing. I'm sitting here learning for once. Nintendo kind of goes through its motions. And in what year do we get the Super Nintendo, Lou?
1991.
1991. Now, the original Nintendo was...
I had to buy that with Christmas and allowance money, by the way. By that point, my parents were like, we're not paying for this anymore.
No, the only thing I remember with the Super Nintendo that made me want it, I was a Genesis kid, was the Super Empire Strikes Back game. I remember seeing commercials for that and going...
pretty good.
Fuck, that looks awesome.
I still have that game.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
All right,
So sitting at home.
I want to talk to Mike about that.
He ain't having it.
So we went from 8-bit, right?
Yep.
This system was a 16-bit
16.
system. So this was the equivalent to someone like me of the Genesis and Sega.
Yeah, that was the main. That was the main rivalry at that time was Super Nintendo and
Right.
Genesis.
Okay, so what was your favorite game of the Super Nintendo?
Super Metroid.
Oh, I know you're a big fan, right?
Metroid is my absolute favorite series. Well, not Prime, and I know that people are going to be screaming.
What about Other M?
No.
Come on.
No.
Stop hating on it.
No.
You hate on that, but you love Destiny. Come on.
No.
And Metroid is the game that we found out at the end of the original Metroid that the hero is a heroine, right?
Yep.
Samus?
Which blew everyone's mind at the time.
I do remember that being a big
Samus Aran.
deal. Samus Aran, okay.
Metroid is by far, like I was saying, my absolute favorite series of all time. I love Metroid, not the Prime series. It shouldn't be first person. It is a 2D. It is a 2D adventure, side-scrolling exploration game. It doesn't belong in first person, but that's my opinion. It came out in '94 and was actually the third installment of the franchise because Metroid 2 came out on the then new Game Boy. And basically, the reason why I put it as my personal top was because it took everything that Metroid did and it just made it better. The exploration was better, the graphics were better, everything they added, including the auto map. The auto map, while some people, like purists, don't.
I think you just loaded in your pants.
Well, here's the thing you have to
That look
understand.
on his face. Oh.
Here's the thing you
The
have
only
to
person that sees that look on a
Auto
regular
map.
basis is Jody, Lou's wife. And we just all saw it, and I'm a little weirded out by it.
Okay, so in the original Metroid, and I'm not even kidding when I tell you this, in the original Metroid, and now mind you, I am probably 7 years old when the original Metroid came out, you had to have a notebook with maps drawn in it. Because the way they designed the world was it was just in front of you. Like, here's the world, you're in it, figure it out. Now, they gated off areas that you would have to actually travel back to, which at the time was unheard of because most everything was linear. So the ability to actually go back to previous areas, like go left and right, I know it's so weird in today's climate, but the ability to have to go left and right and backtrack to areas that you couldn't get to before, like when you picked up the morph ball for the first time and you're like, oh my God, there was that area way back here that was one spot that I couldn't fit in and I could drop down in the morph ball and I can go through that, you know, without having it written down. Without having a notebook or maps or something that you had to hand draw, you'd just wander around for hours and hours and hours. And not
That's the kind of video gamer I am. I would never write a map. I'm just the guy who gets stuck in a room and quits the game and fucking like sells it to a friend for $20.
but when they added,
I honestly don't know if I've ever finished a video game.
Really?
It's much like books for me.
I thought you finished Spider-Man.
No, I'm still playing that, and I kind of gave up. The controller's over there. I just haven't turned it on in a couple weeks.
When they added the auto map, it made life so much easier because you actually had a map so you could see where you were going. It didn't make it any easier. It still had stuff marked on it, but you weren't sitting there completely lost for hours on end going, where the hell was that door that I couldn't get through now that I have this, now that I have this that I can get there. They added the spring ball. So that was an upgrade to the morph ball where you could jump up in it and get into higher areas. The speed boost, the space jump, which lets you jump, a whole bunch of, let you jump.
Comics presents Lou talks about Metroid.
The grapple beam. The grapple beam was awesome.
Even Mike doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Way above me now.
And look, it was 1991 and it was 16-bit graphics.
Really?
But the ability to shoot in 8 different directions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you say auto map for me and come in your pants again?
Auto map, man. Wow. When you went from the you brought me here to talk about Nintendo.
I know, and I love
this
you.
Is
Nintendo.
I can't even match that.
All right, well, let's move on to Mike.
Wait, but no, let him keep going because mine's gonna be like, I like this game. And,
and where we're at for time, that's pretty good. So you let us know what your favorite game for Super and NES is.
And the X-ray scope, by the way.
Okay, X-ray scope.
That's for Clam Magazine.
Clam Magazine. Yeah, really. Hey Lou, you see my copy of I should have gotten something from a Sports Illustrated. It comes in a black bag, and you can't see through it. No, Dad. I found something, but it was so sticky. I don't know what it was. I couldn't get the pages apart. Lou's dad's Italian.
He couldn't figure that out.
All right, Mike, Super NES, what do you got?
Super Mario Kart.
See a pattern here?
You will. You probably will.
I have. Here's
That's a
another
good choice.
I have
it's
never
where it
played a
started,
Mario
though.
Kart.
Really?
Never played a Mario Kart game ever. I know that's like
Really?
one of the most. Yeah, never. I know it's super popular.
Even
I've never
I've
played
done
it.
that.
Yeah.
They're fun. I mean, honestly, Super Mario Kart on SNES is pretty horrible looking because you're pretty much just looking down and it's kind of flat. So, but it's what started all the Mario Karts going forward. So,
Still the best Rainbow Road ever.
oh my god, I hate that fucking map so much. You like that?
Don't
map?
talk about maps around Lou.
I hate Rainbow Road. Oh my god, it's so horrible. Come on. You
No,
like
but
that?
what I'm saying is like in terms of having to control the cart
Yeah.
on it, it was still the hardest of the bunch because it's just
still
gotten
is.
easy. Yeah, it got easier and easier as it went on. Like you look at the Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 8 and it wasn't anywhere near as difficult.
No.
You know?
Before we get any further, I just want to ask you, and this is no diss to you. Are there any games that are going to be on there that are not Mario involved? I'm just curious right now.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I'm just curious. All right, so that was
But they're all going to be first party probably.
so that was the original Mario Kart game.
That was the original Mario Kart.
So there was no Mario Kart game in the original NES.
Nope.
Okay. So we now move into from 1991. We move up to what year, Lou?
1996.
1996, and we have the N64, which is the one that I remember purchasing. I think mine came with Donkey Kong Country 64.
But did you have the RAM expansion pack?
And did you have the green one?
No.
I have the green one.
Oh, you bastard.
Mike is going to be spending a lot of money at the end of this episode. He's going to be wheeling and dealing with these guys. All right.
It's not for sale.
So now a Nintendo 64, it says it right in the title. This is a 64-bit.
Yep,
Right?
correct.
Which competed with what? The Dreamcast? Was that
Well,
what
Dreamcast at the time, PlayStation. It went
PlayStation,
head-to-head.
right,
But it was
right.
still cartridge based.
Because PlayStation came out in 96 as well, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly. But
right
that
in
was
there.
disc-based, and so was
And so was the
Dreamcast. Okay. Yeah, because actually, right, am I correct?
Wait, Dreamcast wasn't disc-based?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was.
You mean
Dreamcast was
combat
disc-based.
disc, right?
Huh?
What do you mean?
It was
Dreamcast
a disc.
was on disc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Has
it's
there
okay.
ever been, I mean, we'll get into this, but does Nintendo do anything with discs?
Yeah.
Yeah, GameCube.
Wii.
Okay, that's right, but they were MIDI.
Wii
right?
U. Yeah.
Okay. What was the game N64? You know, I'll tell you a game that I love for this, because this is a game that, this is a system I had, so my pick will be 2. I love GoldenEye, but the other one I loved was much like GoldenEye. It was called Perfect Dark,
Which was the spiritual successor.
because I remember it had a railgun that you could see through walls. You could shoot motherfuckers through walls.
And then Perfect Dark Zero came out on the Xbox 360.
Okay, so Lou, tell us all about GoldenEye, because I'm sure that's where you're going, right?
Damn you.
Yeah, I know.
It's GoldenEye.
Yeah.
It has to be GoldenEye. It was created by Rare, and Rare at the time basically had a lifetime contract with Nintendo with like unlimited funds to do whatever in the hell they wanted, because up until that point, let's see, they had done Wizards and Warriors, they had done Battletoads, RC Pro-Am, and there were other ones in there that I completely and utterly forget.
Oh, I
because
have
I'm trying
one.
to
I have
rattle
one
it
for
off the
you.
top of my head. Go.
I have a rare game. No, I'll wait till it's my
No,
turn.
okay. But they did GoldenEye, and much like everyone knows, it was based off at the time the Pierce Brosnan, James Bond GoldenEye movie.
The first Pierce Brosnan, and dude, maybe John knows this, who sang the theme song to that one?
Don't ask me.
No?
No.
No, I'm a big Bond guy.
I was not a fan of the Brosnan movies.
No. Tina Turner.
Who run Bottown?
With a golden eye.
Don't hit me, Ike!
Oh man! But to take yourself back to 1996. This is before the greatest first-person shooter of all time to come out ever came out, and that is Halo.
Yes, definitely. I
Flat
agree
up.
with
Who sang Halo?
it. Soil.
Duran Duran. Halo time.
Going back and going. That's getting edited. Going back to 1996, really up until that point, you had Doom and Wolfenstein, which were the two standard bearers of first-person shooters.
Yep.
But neither one of them were on a console. And what Rare, when you look back at it in context, Rare did two very important things. One, they proved the viability of a first-person shooter on a console, because up until that point, it was really untested. And they also showed the viability of true-to-life, real real guns, real people, up in, not space warriors and demons and, your
It
Nazis and
was.
everything else.
You got to play as the cast of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what set GoldenEye apart and what...
Xenia Onatopp.
Xenia Onatopp. And Oddjob. Well, Oddjob was in the game.
That's right, he was. Yeah.
And only scrubs picked Oddjob in multiplayer.
Did he throw the hat in the game?
Well, he was short.
Oh.
He was tiny. And so when you're playing multiplayer, the person playing Oddjob's at an advantage because you always have to aim at the ground. Which only scrubs picked Oddjob. And I still hate people who did that. But that ties into what the other thing that made GoldenEye great. What made GoldenEye great was it, to this day, in my mind, still has one of the best multiplayer modes ever. 4-player split-screen co-op. I had GoldenEye tournaments in college on my dorm floor. We would play that game for hours.
This is why Lou did not graduate
This
college.
is why I did not finish. One of the reasons.
So I want to throw this out as a little memory, tie it into one of the events that we love to cover. Mitch Halleck has CT GamerCon, and last year you came with us, and me and you sat down and free played GoldenEye, and you fucking kicked my dick in, and I couldn't even, honestly, that Nintendo 64 controller with the 3 bars, which at one point in my life I was very good at, or at least for me good at. I couldn't even figure out how to fucking hold it. And we were chasing each other around like a fucking one of those little dungeon rooms or whatever. And you're just blasting me apart. And the one thing I did notice was that when that game came out, and it's a great game. It's still, when it came out, it was like the graphics were so advanced, and now it's just like
back in the
it's
day.
like Pierce Brosnan's just like blocky. He's got a square fucking head.
Well, one of the nice things that Nintendo 64 gave Nintendo the ability to do was actually work with 3D shapes.
Right.
Up until that point, like Star Fox on the Super Nintendo and the recently released on the Super Nintendo Classic Star Fox 2.
I had that.
John, you had a wait, hold on. John had a game.
I had Super Nintendo, so I had Star Fox. I played that quite a bit.
Yeah,
I liked it.
That was like one of the earliest test samples of 3D graphics on a console, and they did that in the 16-bit space. So when the 64 came out, they were actually able to fully embrace it and go into the 3D realm, and which is why they were able to do something like GoldenEye on a console.
All right, Mike, what do you have for N64?
Man, I don't even know how to follow up on this. For real. Your knowledge is...
Mike bows to you.
What did I tell you? I said I did BS really well.
No, you really don't. You know what the hell you're talking
We
about.
could sell him to the J&amp Something Nothing show, his services, if you guys would like to.
We don't make no money, man.
All right, damn it. You got sponsors. I figured you might be able to, I don't know, pay us with coffee or something.
Mine also was a rare game, Lou. And I know you're going to remember it as soon as you hear it.
Go.
You have any guesses?
No, but go.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, yeah.
So Conker's Bad Fur Day.
That's good. Good call.
You're following around Conker the squirrel, a greedy, heavy-drinking red squirrel who attempts to return home to his girlfriend.
That was kind of billed at the time as like kind of like porno-y, right? Like,
yeah, that was
that's
the only mature rated game released on the N64.
Really? Now, does Nintendo often release mature rated games?
Not at all.
So was this one of the only period ever, or just N64?
Just the N64, to my knowledge, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to go back and double check, but yes, I believe you're correct.
Like it started out with him like hungover,
Yeah.
in a bar, like walking around like puking and stuff.
So it was kind of like Lounge Lizard Larry, but with a squirrel.
Leisure Suit
Leisure
Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry, yeah.
Yeah, but
It wasn't that bad.
But I mean, I don't. Did you play the whole game, Lou?
I played a little bit of it, but no, I was at that point. I was all GoldenEye.
All right, so there's a couple levels in there that drew me to it. One of them was the dung beetle shit piles that you had to go through, and you're walking around out here with the flies flying around into the shit. And then when you were inside the cave, do you remember what you fought in there?
No.
You fought a flinging shit monster throwing toilet paper at you.
Wow.
While he was singing.
Just imagine being the guy designing this game.
Yeah, really.
It was really good.
But you see, here's the thing. In context, what you have to remember is the fact that, like Mike had said, Nintendo has always been very restrictive and very protective of their systems and their properties. To the point where, I mean, like, we'll just take it back a notch. Certain companies like Tengen back in the day, if any of you guys like Afterburner and all that, it's ever seen the Tengen black cartridges. Some of the Nintendo cartridges were black. Those were actually not certified by Nintendo for the system. What actually happened is Tengen went and reverse engineered the Nintendo.
Oh, Jesus.
So they could actually create games and get around Nintendo's controls. And then there was like a whole lawsuit situation. But those black cartridges are actually worth, a decent amount of money. Not that you're not going to get rich off of them, but
Spider-Man was on one of them too, right?
They're a nifty piece of history.
Yep.
Just because of what they had to do to get around it. But yeah, that's why Conker's is the way, and in no small way GoldenEye too, because I mean just the concept of mowing people down with an AK-47.
So how come we have a Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming out next year, but I haven't heard nothing about Conker? Like, why Conker didn't be like? There's no Conker 2 or
Microsoft owns Rare. So,
no, but I mean, like, did we ever get a second game in the series, or was
no? Microsoft re-released it as Conker's Live and Reloaded, and it's the game, but it also came with an online multiplayer portion. Oh my god, that was so much fucking fun, and I wish they would bring it back. It was on the original Xbox.
Hey, in all honesty, how old was it about?
2002, maybe.
It's probably loaded on your fucking laptop.
2001.
2001. 2001.
You missed a good joke, Lou. I said it was probably loaded on his laptop.
I don't know. Could that thing run it?
Oh well, I mean, if you look at the 8-track loader on the side there, check it out.
He's got Kenny Rogers. The gambler in there.
No one home. All right, Lou. So we're just finishing off N64 from 1996. How many years do we pop till we get to the next generation?
GameCube was 2001.
2001. All right. So GameCube comes out. I never played a GameCube. I remember it was shaped like a cube. I think it was purpley colored,
like a lunchbox.
It had a handle on the back so you could carry it around your friends' houses.
They were different
because
colors.
because
Were
back,
you probably sold them at one point, right?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
back before the internet.
John worked in a pop culture retail shop for a couple years.
I wouldn't call it that, but but we had all three of the systems at the time: Xbox and PlayStation 2 and GameCube, all at the same time, piled up hundreds of them right behind the register.
So GameCube was supposed to be the Xbox, PlayStation 2 equivalent, or at least the. Well, let's be honest right off the bat, being Nintendo guys. Nintendo is always a little bit. I don't want to say behind the curve, but they're not concerned with going the next level with the graphics and all that shit, right? They're concerned, like you said before, is they're a toy company. They're just trying to put out a new product every few years, but they're not necessarily like, right, what was the GameCube compared to like, what was the PlayStation 2 bit-wise or
I think the graphics were all pretty equalized.
At that point, they stopped counting by bits.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was like I think they considered the original PlayStation like 128-bit,
something like that.
And then I think if you want to assign the PlayStation 2, I think they called it 256. But I don't. Okay. I'd have to go back and by that point that whole bit war thing was pretty much well and dead, because obviously you've moved fully into a 3D space. So like polygon count, bit counts don't really matter anymore.
Okay.
But going back to what you had previously said, you're right, but at the same time, how can I put this? When PlayStation came out, PlayStation 2 came out in 2000 or 2001. I want to say 2000, and then the Xbox came out. I think Nintendo realized at that point that it was either just be the third person on the block. You know what I mean? Just put out another console to compete with them, or do their own thing. And that's when they really started to branch off, because up until that point, up until like the GameCube, they were gaming. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was no. It's important to understand that Nintendo at one point, like the Nintendo Entertainment System, saved gaming.
Yeah, after the 1983 video game crash.
Yeah, nobody wanted to carry the Nintendo. That's why they marketed it as like a family computer, hence Famicom.
What constituted? Hold on, I just want to get something here. What constituted the 1983 video game crash?
Really?
E.T.
Well, basically, there's a lot of parallels to be drawn. There's a lot of parallels to be drawn between the video game crash in '83 and what happened to comics in the '90s. It just turned into a situation where they produced so many games. Like Atari produced like the E.T. debacle. They produced millions and millions and millions and millions of cartridges, just like they were producing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of comic books, and eventually the market couldn't sustain it.
Right.
And it just crashed. The same reason with the comics kind of follow. I'm drawing a simple comparison.
Yeah,
but
there's similarities there. I wouldn't even do that. I was going to correlate it to the baseball card crash, but it's not really the same. You're looking at a bigger business operation with at the time a multitude of different platforms. You had what was it?
Well, you had Atari, Commodore,
Coleco.
Television,
Coleco.
Magnavox had their system.
Texas Instruments,
Television.
TI, yeah.
and all these computer companies that were all fighting for one small chunk of change, and boy, they killed each other.
Yeah, and really once it all, but you're right, yeah, once it all bottomed out, I mean, Nintendo, like I said, they had to market, they had a hard time getting any stores in North America to actually carry it.
Right. Well, I mean, I do get the point that Nintendo, out of the three that were big, like let's say in 2000, Microsoft, Xbox, Sony PlayStation, and Nintendo. Nintendo's the only one that's been around for, like, at that point, in terms of gaming wise, like 15 plus years. In terms of video gaming wise, the other two were upstarts, like, 96 I think was when the PlayStation came out, and Xbox was what, like 2001 or
2001, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to get the exact date.
And you got to remember that the PlayStation came out and Nintendo kind of, because they were doing a crossbreed there.
Oh, really?
And Nintendo didn't want to go through with it.
So the PlayStation,
is that what it was?
Really? So the PlayStation was like a prototype Nintendo.
Someone actually, if you look online for it, do you remember what they called it?
I'd have to look.
But it actually had the PlayStation name and Nintendo name on it, and it was disc based. But Nintendo at the time didn't really want to go disc based. I think if I remember.
Well, Nintendo always had I don't want to use the term hard on, but they always had a hard on for cartridges.
So far, we've talked about Clam Magazine, and I've referenced you coming in your pants twice, so you can say hard on, Lou. It's all right.
Well, I mean, they preferred the cartridges. And
they do.
Well,
that's why they
still do. It's why they went back to them. They like them because it takes away load times. You can load off of a cartridge very quickly as opposed to a disc where everything
load time, man.
Yeah.
That Spider-Man game for my PlayStation 4 took a fucking hour and a half before I could play it.
Worst thing about PlayStation.
That's installing it.
So I was a big Mortal Kombat
PlayStation
fan.
3 was
Super
horrible.
NES CD-ROM.
Yes.
That's right. Now I had to.
When you would shapeshift from Shang Tsung to another character, the thing would stop in the middle of your battle
To load?
And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm going back to the coin op.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I love my Mortal Kombat.
I know you do. John, I've said
I played MK2 on Super Nintendo. So
I've said it before. John is the only guy I've ever known that is looking for a copy of the Mortal Kombat television show on DVD.
I used to play Mortal Kombat with a buddy of mine when we were in like junior high school, where we both had Super Nintendo. I'd bring it over to his house. Dude, we would stay up all night playing the original Mortal Kombat, and we'd be like 256 to 175. I mean, like it was insane.
All right, so Lou, we're talking GameCube at this point. What was your favorite of the GameCube games?
Eternal Darkness.
Wow, that's a
good one.
That's a deep cut. What the fuck is that?
I never played it. But yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, the company that made it, Silicon Knights, is no longer in business. Eternal Darkness was the first game that ever mentally fucked with me. Basically, what it was you played as one character, and to the younger people in the audience, this will almost sound a bit like Assassin's Creed. The character, you played branching narratives throughout the game that shot all through different time periods, and the story synced itself back up together at the end. But what made it really awesome was it had a sanity meter. And the sanity meter is what really messed with you, because as the game went on, as you took damage or as your mental state started to deteriorate, the game would actually change. And you would be walking in a room and you'd see like the statues' heads on the wall turn to follow you.
So kind of adaptive.
It would adapt.
Early adaptive gaming.
But the other cool thing about it was that this game actually broke the fourth wall, which up until that point, I can't think of any game that did it. Like at certain points in the game, if your sanity meter got really low, like all of a sudden you would think that your GameCube shut off, like in the middle of playing. And you'd be sitting there going, what the hell? But it actually didn't shut off. It's the game like making you think your GameCube shut off. Or like you'd get to a point where you'd take a lot of damage, your sanity meter would collapse, and like it would just say game over. But the game actually wasn't over, and like it would make it look like your screen would wig out, like in the old like say the old Nintendo, where like if you put the disc in and like the lines would come up on the screen,
right.
where it would do that in the middle of the game.
Did you ever Did you ever go to bed at night and then wake up with your GameCube on the pillow next to you?
It was the first time I'm playing that game, right?
It's controller in your butt crack.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, he had the. Did they have Rumble? They didn't have Rumble.
No Rumble.
Set to Rumble. I'll be downstairs in a minute, Mom. I'm just playing Eternal. I'm just playing it. I don't know what he's doing up there.
Trying to think, when did I have my GameCube? It was 2001.
You were probably
I had already moved out by that point.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, 2001. I was way out. It was just neat because no other game up until that point had done that, had taken like psychological horrors or psychological, themes and actually brought them into the video game space. And much like we were talking about Conquer, to have a game like that on a Nintendo system was just like mind blowing at the time because it's how, it just wasn't there. And to this day, they really aren't.
All right. An innovative game.
I think you should really have a branch of Pinto Games or something.
Yeah, well,
I think Lou could talk for a whole hour by himself. Seriously. No, I'm not dissing you enough, but seriously, the wealth of knowledge you have, Jesus.
Hey, look, Lou is. I came up with a new name for Lou. I don't know if I've told anybody this yet. I actually haven't announced it on the show yet, but we got G.I. Gary, and he is Lou Skywalker. I know he's trying to distance himself away from the Star Wars after The Last Jedi. But no, Lou is our secret weapon. Lou has set us up with a YouTube channel, and he's been, within 2 weeks, he's figuring out how to edit videos together that look great. And he's done a ton of stuff. He's writing articles that are...
Why aren't you recording this one then?
I'm recording it right now.
For video.
Because he's fucking on it. I don't want to kill the guy.
Set up a camera. I mean, geez.
I was going to say, you think
Put it on his forehead.
Well, that's the next step. We're going to get Lou a GoPro and strap it to his fucking forehead. All right, Mike, your pick for GameCube.
Super Smash Bros. Melee.
And so what level
That's a
of
good
Super
choice.
Smash Brothers was that at that point?
It's the second game in the series.
Second game in the series. And that's the one where that's the one they play at GamerCon, right? Up on the big screen.
That is still a major tournament
It
game.
is.
As you've
Okay.
seen.
Yeah. It is.
I know the name.
Yeah.
We go every year, me and the kids, we get down to Super Smash Con in Dulles, Virginia.
So you go to a con that's not just Nintendo specific. You
It's
go to a
Smash
con that's
Bros.
one game specific.
Smash Bros. And they have competitors from all over the world, including Japan and everything come.
Holy shit! Do you actually? Now
I can see that.
Here's the geek check. I'm going to ask you. You take the kids down there. You go. You have a great time. That's cool. Do you go down there and play, or do you just watch people play?
Watch people play.
Holy shit! So it's
They do have free play, and you can't. Well, actually, what it is, it's an all competition event. So when you sign up, you can actually register to play.
But I'm saying, you guys, this isn't like Super Bowl. Like, you don't just go to watch and leave. You actually do get some gaming in too.
People do go just to watch.
Fuck.
It's big. Like, I mean, the guy that comes from Japan, Prince, they call him. Like, his combos are ridiculous that he can do. If you've never seen videos on this, you got to watch videos on.
We'll post one on the
term
Facebook
Wombo
page.
combo, which is used in almost every game now, was invented because of Smash Brothers.
And you can watch the 4-hour documentary on Super Smash Bros. Did
And
you
all-
ever see it?
4 hours.
No.
I was gonna say, you know what?
I'm not
The
a huge,
original players.
I'm not a huge Smash Brothers fan.
On
I
the,
just don't care for
the
it.
original players that started the whole scene, there's a 4-hour
And Smash
documentary.
Brothers, for people that might not know by listening to the show, it's like a fighting game, but it incorporates characters from the Nintendo world, right? So you got Mario, you got Luigi, you got Samus, you've got all these people, and they just beat the shit out of each other. And I know that you can play like 4 people at a time, or
Yes, 4 originally.
It's 4.
Yes, when you get up into the Wii U, then it goes into 8-player.
Nintendo almost didn't let that game exist. As an aside,
well, because it's too violent, maybe.
Yeah, they didn't want their characters fighting.
They don't want Princess Peach getting her
So
fucking
when
her teeth knocked out.
when they built the original, they
By
built.
Banjo Kazooie.
See, now I'm going to steal his time. I don't want to steal his time.
No.
Go ahead, talk. Go.
Well, I was going to say, when they built the original prototype for the game, they built it in their spare time, and please don't yell at your radios. I forget the names of everybody. When they built it, they built the prototype without the Nintendo characters as like a proof of concept. And when they showed it to Nintendo, when they showed it to Miyamoto, I believe it was Miyamoto originally, I think they showed it without the Nintendo characters, and they were like, eh. So they went back and
Are you saying it's like the Watchmen of Nintendo?
Almost, yeah.
Like where DC was like, can't do that. You got to use these characters.
Yeah, and when eventually, I think Nintendo said, I think either the story went that Nintendo said, okay, you can build a test sample with the characters, or they went and built the test sample regardless with the characters, and when they showed it off, Nintendo said, yeah, okay, go ahead. But originally it was not something that they wanted. They were against it, once again, because they're protective of their properties, and they didn't want them fighting. They didn't want Link fighting Mario, they didn't want Samus fighting Luigi. They just didn't want it.
But it's not violent, right? I mean, in terms of there's
terms
no
of a fighting game, no.
Finish him and ripping a skull out someone's asshole or anything like that.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
As an aside, the GameCube controller with Smash Brothers was so popular that even the most I think every Smash Brothers they've put out since they've made a GameCube style controller.
I don't think they made one for the Wii because the original Wii's actually had the GameCube controller ports on the side.
Yeah, you're right.
So when they redesigned it without the ports, then that's why everyone was pissed, because you couldn't actually play the GameCube
controller in. Yeah, but even when they just released it for the Switch,
the Wii U and the Switch, it's the GameCube controller is an awesome controller, and they still use it today for Smash Bros. And they release it.
Yeah, and they just released a GameCube style controller when they released Smash Brothers for the Switch recently.
Yep,
that's how popular that controller is for Smash Brothers. For tournament play, I think for major tournament play, it's the only controller they use.
Yeah, I think they might switch it up now with the Ultimate being out there. They do allow pro controllers and stuff, but it can't be batteries in it. It has to be plugged into the system. Plugged in. Yep.
Are there referees for these things? Do they have guys in striped shirts that actually?
No, it's just it's two players up there playing, and it's set. So it's usually 3 stock, 8-minute limit, no items on, and Omega stages.
What the fuck does that mean?
There's no jumping pads on any of them. They might do Battlefields once in a while where it has different platforms on it, but there won't be no items. You can turn all items on, so you can have guns and smash boards and stuff,
and bats and fire flowers and everything else. All the power ups.
It's great. Seriously, watch some of the pros. You'll sit there and be like, how the fuck are they fighting off the screen and getting back to the main platform without dying? When you watch the pros, sometimes you'll see them fighting, and you don't even see them on the screen, so you don't even know what the fuck they're doing. I don't even know how they do it. Oh. It's crazy.
I don't get it, man, but you know what?
It's big money.
It's high-level tournament play, and it has been.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I said, that was the one. That's the one that even still, you knew, John, GamerCon, that's the one they were playing.
I know that, yeah.
Because what's the purse for this one? Do you know?
I want to say SmashCon was $10,000, maybe.
Hey, there you go.
I think I could be wrong, but Melee is the most highly respected one too, because it's faster and faster paced.
So it's considered the best, even though they've made improvements with newer systems.
Yeah, the one on the Wii, everyone hated Brawl on the Wii because it was slow. It was slow. That's basically what it was. And then Smash 4 on the Wii U, everyone got back into it and liked it a lot better. And the new one, Ultimate, people are on the fence about it. So.
All right,
Lou. So you can talk me under the table on Smash Brothers, because, like I said, I've never really been all that into it.
My kids got me into it, so even my younger son, he's like, "This isn't Melee, this is shit."
All right, Lou, we're gonna move from the GameCube to the worldwide phenomenon that was known as the Nintendo Wii, which came out in what?
2006.
2006. I remember trying to find a Wii myself because I wanted nothing to do with it. My buddy got one, went over, played it at his house, and I was like, I've got to fucking have one of these. It's so much fun.
Right? I got a bowl.
Bowling, the tennis, I loved it. And I remember that Christmas season trying to find one, and it was not fucking happening.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have a story talking about how hard they were to get. My stepson was born in February, and we had been trying to find him a Wii. Well, at this time, there was a local. Remember Hollywood Video?
Yeah.
People in Connecticut.
I worked there.
At Hollywood Video.
Yeah, I worked there.
So you remember Game Crazy?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Game Crazy was
Hollywood Video was what we referred to as shitty Blockbuster, right?
Fuck you.
Game Crazy was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is how I always knew it. Game Crazy was basically like a secondary, like a sister company to Hollywood Video, because they were always right next to each other.
Yeah, it was always inside of it.
Yeah, it was
right
inside of it. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Hollywood Video here in North Haven. The Game Crazy here in North Haven, I went to all the time. I loved that place. Since we had been there and we were good patrons and everything else, they had a Wii, and they said, okay, we're gonna we have a Wii for you. And I said, oh, freaking awesome. He's going to be so psyched. And so we go, we buy him the Wii. We bring it home, we wrap it. My wife and I are like, we're so happy to give him this thing. Give it to him on his birthday. People are there, whole 9 yards. He opens it up. He's excited. And now it's important to remember at the time that the Wii is a very small system. Very, very small.
Yeah, it was tiny.
And it was tiny. So we give him the box. He opens the box. No Wii inside of it. And at that point, it's like, oh my God, birthday's ruined. Like everything, like we're just sitting there going, what the fuck? Right. So we call the store and we explain to them what happened, and they get a hold of their warehouse people. Come to find out, there was somebody in their warehouse opening the boxes and stealing the consoles out.
Lovely.
And then shipping the boxes out.
Was there anything in the box?
Everything.
What's in the box?
Everything but the console.
Everything but the physical console. The controllers were in there.
So the weight
cables
wasn't really that
the
different,
weight, because the system was so small, you wouldn't, like if you picked up an Xbox, like an original Xbox box, and the Xbox
You would
wasn't in
know.
there, you knew.
Yeah,
Right.
you
'Cause, I
know.
mean,
Right.
that thing weighed 800 pounds. Since it was so small, you didn't realize it was in there. And I mean, obviously, we're not going to open it and check. But
Yep.
to Game Crazy's credit, at the time, their DM drove to Albany, New York, which is like a 3.5 hour ride
From here, yeah.
He drove to Albany, New York, to a store up there that had one, and drove it all the way back for us.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, that was pretty cool.
Lou and I drove to Albany,
Yeah.
New York for a Comic-Con in like the day after a blizzard. I don't know what the fuck we were thinking. That was and I drove like the wrong way partially.
the wrong
and
way.
What a fucking day.
I mean-
We stopped at a McDonald's and ordered our breakfast, and it never came. It was you know those McDonald's on the highway?
Yeah, yeah.
We waited to the point where we just said, "Are you willing to like just give up the $8?" And he's like, "Yes, let's just get back in the car."
It's like all I wanted was an egg McMuffin.
Yeah, let's just get back in the fucking car.
On the Mass Pike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to stop there.
Well, we usually do, and usually I had a problem, but this one's fucking.
That's when you're going east, not west.
Yeah.
This day it was people were screaming for refunds. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, Lou, are you willing to? Because I'm willing to lose $8. Yes, let's get back in the fucking car.
Let's go.
All right, Lou, what was your favorite of the original Wii games?
Well, it's actually funny that you bring up bowling and tennis and all that because Wii Sports.
Yeah,
And I don't bring Wii Sports up because it's my personal favorite. I brought this one up because of what, like you said, it was a phenomenon.
It was.
It deserves to be at least my vote on this because of what it did for gaming.
didn't have that archery, right?
It did.
That was fucking great. That thing was great.
I mean, there were elderly people in nursing homes.
It brought the
Dude,
casual gamer.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that
John, have
no,
you ever played a Wii? Have you ever
Once.
tried it once? Did
Once.
you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
But I was also drunk at the time, so.
I mean, they're like I said, they used
the Nintendo Wii.
Would you like to hear that story?
I actually would.
Maybe later.
What'd you do with that remote while I was vibrating?
We were playing a shooting game.
Oh Jesus!
We were doing shooters.
Bet you were.
They used Wii Sports for physical therapy.
Yeah.
And like I said, there were elderly people in nursing homes who were playing Wii bowling because they couldn't physically go out to a bowling alley, and they would playing tennis. You could see a grandmother playing with like their 10-year-old in a living room and actually having a good time and being able to compete because all they had to do was take the Wii controller in their hand and just kind of swing it.
My
And
turn!
It was also dangerous, though.
It was. I mean, that's why you had the straps.
I remember playing
I had the
tennis and
straps.
I broke my friend's light off the ceiling.
Oh Jesus!
Like glass went flying because I was going to grand slam that tennis ball. I'm not kidding. Glass everywhere.
Calm down there, Blind Hostility. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Blind Hostility, by the way.
Let's put it this way, and I actually had to take this down as a note because I didn't know the final number. By 2017, Wii Sports sold 82 million copies.
Wow.
Granted, it was packed in with the Wii, so I mean that had a lot to do with
Yep.
it at the time. But 82 million.
That still means that they sold a ton of Wii as
Yeah.
well. So
But that was also, I mean, pulling in the casual gamers too. I don't know how you feel, but it definitely was the downfall too because
I hate that term,
What?
casual gamer.
But that's
But
what
yeah,
it
you're
was.
right.
It brought in the gamers that never played, and that was the downfall. Because then you got a bunch of shovelware shit on that with stupid ass games like Barbie's Riding Princess. And
Wait, hold
stuff
on.
like
Now,
that.
before you get too far, you're talking in nerd
Sorry.
speak. What does shovelware mean?
How would you explain that?
Easiest way is low effort cash grabs.
Okay, and what was the Barbie game you said?
I was just throwing it out there, like Barbie's riding horse. Or
Okay,
some stupid
all right.
shit. You're riding a horse.
Yeah. You had tons of companies coming out of the woodwork to make a game for the cheapest amount of money possible in the hopes of just making whatever they could off of it.
And how many are left alive?
There were not many.
Yeah.
I mean, but there was some. I mean, like World of Goo was really good from an indie developer. I don't know if you ever played it.
No, I didn't play that one.
Good use of the Wiimote and stuff. I mean, it was definitely. I enjoyed it. So I mean,
Well, speaking of what you enjoy,
the thing was with the Wii was you couldn't ignore it.
No.
And that's why even in an age where you had the Xbox 360 and you had the PlayStation 3, even though the Wii was ridiculously underpowered compared to it, the developers couldn't ignore it because of its install base. There were so many. Well, after a while, but I mean, there were so many consoles in the home.
Yeah.
I mean, until it became just not feasible to port games over to it or to have some form of it, just because by that point the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games were just so far beyond it.
Yeah,
They had to make games for it because you were cutting out how much of your profit by not.
Yeah,
right.
I
Mike,
mean, like
we're going to jump to you, Mike. We're going to go to your favorite Wii game.
So we're going back into the Mario series. I'm sorry, but Mario's like my favorite game.
I didn't ask you that to get on you. I was just wondering if there was going to be anything outside of the Mario. I mean, Lou's got games that are molesting him in the middle of the night, and you're
he's like, I mean, you really are a wealth of knowledge. I'm not
Eternal
gonna lie, man.
Darkness
Holy
is
crap,
incredible.
man! You really are, and they just got the copyright again for that too.
You know that when it comes out, it's going to start crank calling Lou.
Well, I'm forgetting. God, I'd have to remember the name of the developer, but I know he's been trying to get a sequel to it off the ground. I think he's trying to kickstart it, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, what's your Nintendo game for
Wii?
It's
actually Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
So, I did play that one. That one's pretty rad.
Yeah, 3D platformer, open world. I mean, I just love Mario games.
I remember it was weird getting used to the two.
But see, that's what I thought too. When they first showed the system, this is a true story. EB Games in Merida Mall. I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I went in and played. I'm like, this is absolute fucking shit. I'm never going to buy this piece of shit console. But, of course, I'm a Nintendo fan. But and I ended
You have 7 different versions
I ended
of
up at Target at like 2 in the morning waiting in a line and freezing fucking cold. And I was like, they made their own list of numbers in line because they only have 43 consoles. And I was like number 42.
Huh.
So, but it was worth it. Like, I actually found that enjoyed. I don't know if you ever played Call of Duty series on there at all.
No, I didn't touch Call of Duty until Infinite Warfare.
So, like, and I played on the Xbox and everything because my mom got me an original Xbox instead of a GameCube. I don't know why. She's like, I went to Walmart and got you an Xbox for Christmas. I have no fucking idea why.
Nothing wrong
She's
with
like,
that.
he likes those
nothing,
video
no.
games.
But the first, like you said, Halo.
Halo.
But anyways, I find the controller, the Wiimote and the nunchuck comfortable to use because you could just sit back and it's not. And sorry, I stepped away from the mic. You sit back and it's not like a controller. I don't know how to explain it. It was just comfortable, but that game was just a lot of fun, colorful, and vibrant, and it just
I played it a few times. It was pretty cool.
yeah.
Those games still sell for a lot of money if you try and find them used at like a GameStop to this day.
Really?
Yeah, them and Skyward Sword and Skyward Sword and what the heck was the other one on GameCube? My mind's losing me. The 2 Zelda games. Both of those are ridiculous. They're still worth money.
Twilight Princess.
Thank
But that
you.
was originally on GameCube.
Yeah, but it came over.
Those were, I'll be honest with you because you're a Zelda fan and I know that. Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword are the only 2 Zelda games I ever played fully beat.
Really?
Really. And Twilight Princess is by
Never
far
Ocarina and never Majora's.
Never. Because I was in the PlayStation 1 at that time.
Wow. John,
He
you
was-
want to go up the road and have a beer?
Yeah, I was going to say. Nerds. All right. We got 2 left. We're going to power through them because we have another show to record as well. Lou, how many years do we fast forward after the Wii?
We go to 2012.
So 2012, so 6 years, and then we get...
It's roughly about 6 years between each of these.
Yeah,
It seems like it,
5 or 6 years is about a basic console life cycle.
It's strange. It seems to me like some of these were a lot closer together, and they're not.
Yeah, no. Well, it just means we're old.
Well, you know what it is you basically get the original when a dev kit goes into a developer's hands, you get the first wave of software, and then you get, and they're still trying to figure it out, and it's pretty rough. And then you get this like the second major wave of software about halfway through, and then by the third wave, which is usually towards the end, they've really figured the systems out, and that's when some of the best games are coming out for it.
I'm going to bounce back to you for your first choice.
That was not the Wii U though, that's for sure.
So that's what I want to ask. I'm going to ask Mike this, because here's something that has always confused me about Nintendo. What makes the Wii U different than the Wii?
It's got a U, duh.
That was one of the major problems with it.
It was one of the, exactly like Lou's saying, that's one of the major problems. People thought it was just an upgrade, so why buy an upgrade if it's the same system?
So if it's not the same system, if it's not more powerful graphics, if it's not this, what is different about it?
It's got a gamepad. Basically, you saw the Switch, right?
Yes.
Basically, that's what they were trying to do with the Wii U, and it just didn't work. Because
so it was a mobile version as well as...
No. So you had the actual home console, which is like the Wii.
Yep.
The Wii. It stayed there. That gamepad, you could play on the gamepad, but that gamepad couldn't get more than 25 feet away from the system.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the Switch is actually, you're taking the whole game console with you.
Yeah, you go wherever you want.
Yeah, I personally like the Wii U, and I think it's going to end up being, I don't know how you feel, but like the GameCube, the little console that couldn't, because it really does have a lot of great games. And they're bringing, not unfortunately, but for players of the Switch, they're bringing all the games ported over to the Switch.
Is the Wii U considered
a failure?
It's
an absolute
failure.
It is their big failure.
13 million consoles.
13 million consoles.
Yeah, and I think it was only a 4-year life cycle?
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 years.
Well, you said 2012, right? And then the Switch was what, last year?
2017.
So kind of a year.
Yeah, early 2017. So basically, it was about 4.
But see, at the same time, it was dead.
It was
in its 5th year. I mean, it was out in the world, but I mean, it wasn't. They weren't doing it.
It was dead.
They had put all the resources.
As a
to the
layperson,
Switch.
I never knew what the difference was.
I mean, and that was one of the biggest problems. When I know you're looking for time, but that was one of the biggest problems with it was the fact that they actually did name it the Wii U, because obviously, like you said, is people just thought it was an upgrade over the Wii, which it really wasn't. It was its own console.
What the fuck does U mean? Does anybody know that?
No, just
okay.
it was
all about you.
Yeah, it was all about you.
It's your Wii U.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like your Wii. You play with your Wii. You're playing with your Wii U.
But
good thing they didn't name it that. By the way,
it was a graphical upgrade, but at the same time, Nintendo by that point was never really into they were never into the horsepower race. Because they were they knew they were never going to compete with Microsoft and Sony. And they never really wanted to. By that point, they were into making their own consoles and, just doing kind of marching to the beat of their own drum. And for better or worse, shunning a lot of third-party developers and relying on their first-party stable, which is not a bad thing because they have it. But at the same time, you have to understand that with the rise in console costs, people find it harder and harder to own multiple consoles. If it comes down to, one or the other, they're going to buy the one that they can play the most games on. Yeah, and plain and simple, and that was Sony. That was Sony or Microsoft. At the time, it was Microsoft.
All right. So, what was your favorite game on the Wii U?
Even though the options were bare, I'm going with Hyrule Warriors Legends.
I never really played it, but I'll agree with you because it's only been on like every system since too. 3DS, Switch.
So they put it on the 3DS. They put it on the Switch. Easiest way to describe it is Dynasty Warriors meets Legend of Zelda. And have you ever heard of Dynasty Warriors, John?
No, Dragon Warrior I've heard of.
Where'd you hear Dragon Warrior?
Dragon Warrior, yeah, I heard it's great.
Dynasty Warriors is basically the easiest way to describe it is you against an army of enemies. It puts you in the role of a hero like character with an arsenal of very simple combos, and it sets you loose on a giant map where you get to mow down thousands upon thousands of enemies. And basically what they did was they took that premise and they built it with Zelda characters. And
here come my Bumpus dogs.
I've always
Bumpuses! Goddamn Bumpuses!
I've always called it the crossover that nobody knew they needed because it was such a fun game, and it still is. It's an amazingly fun game.
All right, Mike, Wii U.
There is so many good gems on a Wii U.
Yeah.
So I mean, all right. So actually, you can be surprised it's not a Mario game this time. So this is actually Splatoon.
I remember you talking about this.
Yes, it's a third-party shooter game. It's a shooter in a sense, but you're not trying to kill people. You're just trying to ink up as much territory as you can. It's just a fun game. It's fast paced. Each match is 3 minutes. 4 players on each team. That's it.
Splatoon or Spittoon?
No, Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Not Splatoon.
Okay.
Splatoon.
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 Okay. All right, guys. Let's head into the very last one, right? Okay.
Okay.
We've talked about it a little bit. Mike, I'm going to give you the chance again to describe what year are we going to, on this one?
2017.
2017. We hit Nintendo Switch. Mike, what makes the Nintendo Switch the Nintendo Switch? You kind of described it before, but give us the whole idea.
It's a hybrid gaming console. You could take it on the go or play it at home as a console.
You could take this on the bus. You could take it's not 25 feet.
Not 25 feet. You take it wherever you go. The screen is actually the console. So even in docked mode, when you put it in, all it's doing is putting an HDMI cable into it,
It's
putting
just
it onto
jumping.
the TV.
It's just pushing it onto the TV.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it has its downfalls too. I'm not gonna lie. Lou knows the memory storage is 32 gigabytes, so you can spend a ton of money on SD cards to back up games. But thankfully, they did cloud save now with their online system. But
I mean, the modular design of it is very cool. Again, I saw my friends where when you take it out of the system, there's the 2
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons that you slide into it, and now it looks like I don't want to say a Game Boy, but it looks like one of those old Sega.
Like a PSP.
Like a PSP, exactly.
Like a game, like the old Game Gear,
Yeah, like a Game Gear, kind of, yeah.
Oh, I almost bought
which
one
I
of
still
those.
have.
I almost bought one of those this weekend.
Jesus
I
Christ.
still have mine. Mine's sitting in right under my TV.
Sega made a splash.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
love
yeah.
Service Games of America. I love Sega.
But you can take the Joy-Cons off, play that in tabletop mode. It's got a little kickstand on back, so you can always use that
Oh, so you could use that as the screen, like, without touching it.
without touching it. Yep.
Oh,
It
wow.
actually has more processing power than your laptop.
You know what?
Well, than his laptop.
Why are we talking about my laptop again? I thought we left that long ago. Come on.
All right, Lou, Nintendo Switch favorite game.
Breath of the Wild, Legend
That
of Zelda,
is
Breath
Zelda.
of the Wild. Yeah,
I've heard of this.
yeah. I mean, granted, at this point in the life cycle of the system, there's not a whole heck of a lot out for it. It's only really been out. God, not even
Year and
a
a
year
half.
yet. No, it's March of eight. Oh yeah, year and
Year
a
and a
half.
half,
Yeah, year and a
almost.
half. It's only been out a year and a half, so you really haven't gotten a whole lot of it yet. But in terms of what is out for it, Breath of the Wild, it rewrote the rules of what a Zelda game is.
It really did. You're absolutely right.
And it had an enormously long lifespan in development time. I mean, they started development for the Wii U, and it actually came out on the Wii U too at the very
Yeah,
end.
they held it
launched
off to the Switch, though.
and
Yep.
they held it off to the Switch. Basically, much like the original. I mean, for all the iterations on it, it's very much like the original Legend of Zelda, the very first one on Nintendo. So it kind of wraps back very nicely. Where once again they drop you into a world, very minimal instruction, and they just say, "Have at it." You could go from the starting area right to the final boss and beat the game if you so chose. Just turn the game on, go from the starting area, go to the end, beat the boss. And
So
be
it's
done.
an open world.
Totally and completely in a way that not many games outside of, say, Elder Scrolls have managed.
Do you prefer, as a game player, playing your Switch on your TV, or do you like to play it portable style?
I play it on the TV.
Yeah. How much time a week does the Switch spend with you in the bathroom?
You know, honestly, the Switch that is in my living room is currently my daughter's, actually, so not all that
Okay.
much.
Oh, not all that much. Does she know this?
No.
Okay.
He's too busy playing Destiny.
Yeah, really.
I do play too.
That's a bathroom
I
switch.
just
We're not
broke.
taking that back.
I'm not even kidding. I just broke 1,000 hours in Destiny 2.
That doesn't surprise me. Every time I see you on, that's what you're on.
Bathroom Switch.
Disgusting.
This is a Brentano's bookstore will not take your.
I'm in
bathroom Switch
the top 4% of time played.
Oh my god.
Yeah, among all players in the world.
And if you guys want
Are
to
you
listen,
seriously?
I'm dead serious.
wait, I got to promote our show right now. If you want to listen, there is a show out there where it's me, Lou, and my son Nick talking, and there is a whole segment about Destiny. If you want to talk about that,
Yeah, go back to J&amp Something Nothing Show, which you can find on
Anchor or iTunes, anywhere pretty much.
anywhere that you can download your pods, and you can go back a few months and find that episode. And while you're there, you want to also subscribe to it.
Subscribe, yeah. I'm
All
on
right.
Instagram now too.
Instagram as well. And you guys were doing some great stuff with giveaways the other day, I saw.
Oh yeah, we were doing the Pokemon codes.
Yeah, you were giving out Pokemon codes.
I'm not sure how good that went, but
I did the same thing. I tell you what, I got some Blu-rays for Christmas.
yeah, I
And
saw that.
And I don't do the digital codes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give these away to people, and people dug it. Like I did it under Piney Comics, and people were like, "Thank you so much," and like they get a copy of the movie. So
I just got likes. Well, it's thanks to you that I'm on Instagram. Put us on Instagram.
I told
because
you,
you're
man.
like hashtag and everyone likes it, and they really
they
do.
truly do. It's Instagram is kind of a really cool visual.
So I mean, you can check out Instagram if you got Pokemon for the 3DS. there still might be a code on there. It works because no one said that they claimed them, so I don't know who
There,
actually.
yeah,
took
there
them,
you go. It might still be out there. All right, Mike, let's finish this off strong. First question I'm going to ask you, of the two questions, how much time does your Switch spend with you in the bathroom?
None.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, too much fecal matter.
Too much.
I gotta
Okay,
touch
yeah,
the screen.
yeah.
Man, fuck that. Shitty situation.
Number 2, do you prefer to play it as a console or do you prefer to play it as a take along?
I play both.
You play both, but I mean, do you
Equally,
you don't. It's not one or the other for you.
No, it doesn't.
Like, because
bother me.
literally, you could, like, with a console like that, you could say, I'm going to pop it onto the 42-inch or whatever, or I'm going to lay on the couch and play it like this. So you don't really care either way.
No, I mean, if I'm at my girlfriend's, I usually pop it in the dock and play it on the TV. And when I'm home, I'll lay in bed for 3 hours a night just sitting there playing it.
Nerd. All right. What is your favorite game for the Nintendo Switch?
Nerds.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say.
I'm going to name the episode that.
Hello, it's Pot. You are black.
Nerds calling nerds nerds.
Yeah.
So this one was hard. I mean, we're only a year and a half into the cycle, and there's so many great games. So it was a tough choice, but it's going to be right now Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I know it just came out December. Everyone's there. Ice Climbers is back. Snake's back from Metal Gear Solid. Everybody's just there. And it's almost like...
How does a fucking character like Luigi fight against fucking Solid Snake from Metal Gear?
Oh, he's got that little...
How does the Wii Fit? How does the Wii Fit yoga instructor battle?
They have the...
Yes, Wii Fit trainer is in there, yes.
Wii Fit trainer.
Yeah, it's
You
just
have
a
that?
fun game.
Oh.
I've never touched one of these. I haven't played a Nintendo system since. Well, I played the Wii that one time, but I was drinking and it wasn't mine, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
No, since Super Nintendo, I haven't touched the system.
Yeah, I played a Wii, but I don't think I've ever played a GameCube.
Oh, GameCube, I had to because when we had them at the store, we had to play test them. But no, I never really.
It's branching out now too, so you got characters outside. So I mean, pulling them in. So they just announced who was it? The Joker from Persona 5.
I think so.
As a DLC character coming out, and who else?
Downloadable content, folks.
Yeah, downloadable content. They have Cloud, which came in on the Wii U from Final Fantasy.
Cloud Strife.
Yep.
Wow. Jesus Christ. All right. Even John's starting to fucking pull things out now.
Hey, I played a lot of Final Fantasy.
It's Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. I know that guy.
Not yet.
I know that dude. All right. So we have sat here for a while, and we have talked predominantly Nintendo. I want to thank you guys for both coming on. Mike, once again, tell everybody out there about J&M Something Nothing Show and where they could find you guys other than like everything. Facebook, Twitter. Are you on Twitter? You're on Twitter, right?
We're on Twitter.
You're actually, the one you should probably push is that one that you got me on that I had to fucking mute because I had no clue. What is that?
Oh, Discord?
Discord. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we do have a Discord server, so you can get on there. I don't know how much it's spammy. Lou would know. He's in the group. Is it spammy when I do it, everyone?
Currently, I have 19 at everyone notifications, and I think I deleted them a couple times.
honestly-
From our group.
Yeah.
So, and it's probably mostly streamers. So I might have to change that to just
going in right now. Hang on.
I might have to just change that to here, but we're on.
I got 2 on the Pokemon channel, 4 on the Smash Brothers Ultimate, 1 on the video game general, and 12 on the streaming. So yeah, it's the streamers.
Okay.
So well, let me ask you a question. Do you actually check Discord?
I look at it.
If there's not if it's not at everyone, do you actually go in there and check?
I look at it. I mean, because my Destiny clan is on Discord, so I'm in there all the time. So
I'm going to edit all this out. So can people follow you on Discord?
Yeah, you can follow. Go to Facebook and Twitter. The links are on there. I'm not sure if I have it up. Oh, I do have it up on Instagram too. So
okay,
we're really pushing towards Instagram and Discord and pretty much all of them. So
all right. So and if they want to follow you personally. On like Twitter, it's at Blind Hostility. And if they want to follow John, your partner there, it's
at Big John Wolf.
At Big John Wolf.
Follow him. He's a Pokemon fan, just like Louis a Destiny fan. So,
got it. You know what I know about Pokemon? He's got to catch them all. All right. So for Pint of Comics, Sir Jon, Lou Skywalker, the special weapon, the secret weapon, and Mike from J&M Something Nothing, Blind Hostility. I want to say thank you so much for listening to our first recorded show of 2019. Might not be the first one that's actually released, but first recorded. And I want to tell you all, very important, to go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've been doing some cool stuff, getting some stuff out there, kind of expanding our horizons. So we're everywhere. This has been the quietest you probably heard me and John in a while. Yeah. But you know what? That's nice, branching out.
Yep.
So
I'm good with it.
As they would say in Japan,
Nintendo.
See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.